Chapter 14, The Angelica Touch by Lindsay J. Sedgwick. Brainwave number 2 hits in religion. I pass the note across to Grace. We use BP. Grace gives me a look that says, "What are you talking about now?" But a bit too graphically because Ms. Willow is on to us. Something interesting, Grace? No, miss. Oh, I'm sure it is. Why not share Angelica's note with the class? This is revenge for Grace doing an essay on atheism when the assignment was to discuss a recognized world religion, and for looking universally bored the length of every religion class. Sorry, miss. Grace is a good friend, but she's never going to get away with this. Everyone swivels to watch Ms. Willow. It's not worth reading, really, says Grace, scrunching it up. Angelica's a lesbian, miss, says Theo. It's probably a love note. Sniggers. Nice. If you were a typical example of mankind, Theo Maguire, says Grace, I would gladly become a lesbian. This stops him. Stops Ms. Willow, too, who grabs the note. This can't end well. We use BP, she reads to me. Are you planning a career in oil? To fill your mother's car up and flee into the wilderness? Like Thelma and Louise. It's tempting. Grace, Theo, and I get detention. Fortunately, Theo has a get-out-of-jail card free card that he cashes in. I'm not sure the three of us in a room alone would be a good idea right now. This had better be worth it, says Grace. Our task, to scribble a page of deep thoughts about adding spirituality to our daily lives. We'll rattle through it and then Grace turns to me. What the hell is BP? Brad Pitt? We connect the site to him and it will attract the sort of women who will appeal to the sort of men we want on the site. He'd sue for defamation. Grace's dad is a solicitor for some big law firm in Dublin that nobody can really afford. She says they give out handmade chocolates to visitors with their coffee, other than biscuits. Way past you, I say. We dedicate romantic hearts to him. You do a portrait for the homepage, we tag and tweet it everywhere. That way we get hits from everyone who types in his name. All we have to do then is make them believe that this is the site on which they will meet the man or woman of their dreams. I'm not sure, she says. Think of it as the first public platform for your artistic work. Sort of a first exhibition. You couldn't exactly put your name up on it just yet, but still. The rest of detention flies past as we construct a list of the information we need to make our site so fantastic that Brad Pitt would join without thinking more than twice. Chris comes to collect us, as neither of us has to explain to our mums why we got detention, which is just as well, though it means I owe him big time. Work has started on the ballroom, so Mum probably hasn't even noticed I'm late on. Grace suggests we ask Chris what questions he'd ask, but I tell her we'll get back to Mum. Grace and I invite a few trusted friends for a very important discussion. It will be held behind the shed Wednesday lunchtime, barring hailstones, rogue tornadoes and prowling teachers. Kathy arrives last, which makes Jack sit up straight, but she's more interested in Dylan's jacket. Grace invites him to join us. I try to keep focused. Everyone's buzzing. There's a rumour that I'm organising gigs in the ballroom or a walkout from religion, and it takes ages to stop them all talking long enough to explain. We need a list of what you would want to know or need to ask if you were looking for the perfect boyfriend or girlfriend. There follows 3 whole minutes of absolute silence. Who cares, says Denise. Boys are stupid. Thanks. This from Dylan. Well, they are, she says. They're smelly and loud and make fart jokes constantly. Jack gives his armpits a quick sniff. I don't. Neither do I. Dylan tugs his jacket around him. Squirt me again, Dylan, Clancy, says Grace, and you are dead. She moves over beside Jack, who now looks scared. This is going nowhere. Guys, it's a project, okay, for CPSE, right, Grace? Grace is shaking her head. Everybody does CPSE, though, so they'd know. Sorry, history. It's for a project about the changing needs of Irish society. Kathy starts the ball rolling. I'd want to know what are their hopes, wishes and dreams. Psychos say candlelit dinners. Cannibals say sushi. What do normal people say? Says Grace, and Dylan leaps in. Make the world a whale sanctuary. Find true love, says Jack, surprisingly. Denise catches his eye and he blushes. Sweet. Or to meet a real alien, he continues. This completely spoils the effect. You know the ones with green eyes and their innards all on the outside, full of people's slime, purple slime you can eat? Jack, we squeal. What? Kathy looks sort of impressed and gives him a goofy grin. Grace misses it completely, which is just as well. She'd only tease him later, and for days. You set hopes and dreams for your ideal date, says Grace. What about you? Not about you. How about, says Dylan, how about, do they like kids? It's the first sensible and usable thing anyone has said. So he's deep and thoughtful, as well as divine. Especially teenagers, says Grace. He's such a good influence on her when he's not squirting water in her eye. I can't ask that. They'd be afraid to answer. Nobody admits to liking teens. Even teens don't admit to liking teens. We are the best of humans, but not everyone can see it. Like adults are so balanced and rational. Or nice. We should start a campaign to reinstate teens as future world leaders. Awesome inventors, says Denise, smiling at Dylan. Wicked litigators. Returning to the question, says I. Denise opens the discussion. Turned out feet. She says this as if it's obvious why, but we all sit there waiting for her to explain. You don't know why? We shake our heads in unison. Dad says turned out feet is a sign of a split personality, like cabbage ears. Jack pulls his woolly hat down over his ears. Not cabbage ears, but not the neatest either, and makes himself look small. Or a wet nose, says Grace. There is no end to the knowledge my best friend has. It's a worry. We're not talking about dogs, Grace. I know. Is he or she a good listener, says Denise. Mum says that's the one thing she'd change about Dad. While this goes down, Dylan lets Kathy press the squirting thing. She's been hinting for days. And guess what? The water squirts Grace in the eye again, despite her being as far from him as it is possible to be in a small space. Oh, really? She says, and storms inside. Kathy moves over beside Jack as if she needed to stretch her legs, but then neither of them can look at each other. It's just as well the bell goes. Best thing to happen in school today. Art. Last class. We unveil the still life we had to do over the holidays to the unflinching eye of the growler. All goes well, a little grunt, a minor growl here and there, until she gets to Grace. Inappropriate. But miss, Grace Klusky, I asked you for a still life. He's very still, miss. It's a naked man. Actually, it's a statue of Christ in Rio, but with Tariq's hair, a green and gold bandana, and a pint of Guinness in each hand. To be continued.